Rocket riding is a top tier meme strat, as shown here by Laserbeam, and still gets an amazing response to this day. Fortnite has always had a special relationship with explosive weapons, and so too have content creators and casual players. That's one of the reasons I rate explosives highly in the loot pool, but sometimes it's just no fun, and the reintroduction of the sticky grenade launcher this season is testing my patience severely.
Oh, hello. Ah, it's a sticky grenade launcher! Oh, this feels like a good old proper fight, this does. Boom! Boom! 5 big booms! 15 big booms! 100 big booms! Let's go! Come on! Game's late. Game's crashed.
But it's honestly one of the best feelings when you eliminate these rocket spammers, because when you're on the receiving end, they seem to have unlimited rockets to spam you with. And for the sticky, I can't really give a reasonable explanation why this item is even here, when it horrendously ruins the main fundamental aspect of Fortnite, which is the building. I'm sure there's a good split to the people watching this video, and half of you will probably say, Jay, stop spamming your builds, why are you sweating so much? And half of you will be on my side and say, I shouldn't be spamming my builds this much, this is ridiculous, why isn't there items in this game that makes you need to spam build like this, or you're dead. Of course Fortnite is far removed from this primitive state you see in this trailer, but I can't help how they used the proximity grenade in the trailer to shoot it at the armoured vehicle. Yeah, Fortnite, because that's how it's going to be used in game. Now, do I believe that all rocket weapons should be removed? Probably. But do they need to be? No. Now, I've been playing the new reload map, Slurp Rush, and for the first handful of days, I actually thought there was no rocket weapons in this game mode until I saw the OG rocket. And I've got to say, I enjoyed myself much more in this game when I don't have to involve spammy items. And to be fair, the OG rocket definitely isn't spammy to that degree. And I do think there's some smart strategies you can do with rocket items. For example, putting a hand grenade in the corner of a build so it drops into the person's build, which I guess is a little bit broken, but in a stressful situation that is very hard to pull off consistently. You also have to consider this from a squad mode perspective as well, squads, trios, duos, where multiple opponents with multiple rocket items is just unbeatable. And guys, listening to this video, I'm well aware that this is a bit of a rant, and Fortnite will probably keep going with explosive items, but I believe there's more disdain in the community for one-shot snipers than spammy rockets, which in my opinion, using snipers takes a little bit more skill than just spamming rockets, for the large part. Because let's be fair guys, 9 times out of 10 this engagement would have resulted in my demise. But the moment this player had to think, he decides to jump immediately in my box, give me a easy pump shot, and this reverse ramp trick he tried to pull, I have no idea what he was actually thinking. To be fair, I guess he is slightly better positioned for a right hand peek, but all in all, I'm only there because one of the amount of builds I had, and probably because of my ping. And another thing that annoys me about this type of gameplay is you do get hit, of course, even when you're spamming builds. And I got hit again in the close range encounter, and I want my just rewards, but immediately in this situation I got third partied. But even then, I'm struggling to find medkits, struggling to find minis, which is fine when I get shot by a better player with better aim, but spamming rockets, grenades, and other stuff like that, I'm sometimes scratching my head, should I even be giving my time to this game? Honestly, given some of the content on the channel, people may think I'm on a bit of a hate train for Fortnite. This is not the case. But often when I do play Fortnite, I play it because of the unique engagement that it brings in fights with the builds and stuff. And I understand this is coming from a player who is mainly a builds player, because I do hear from my chat that sticky grenade launcher doesn't seem as OP in zero builds. And that's fair, but I just believe the rockets make that unique engagement with the building side of Fortnite often irrelevant. And from a player on the outside of zero builds, I can understand why it's not as powerful. You're not confining yourself into a build and allowing them to come on top of you, when if you're a builds player with a sticky grenade launcher, you can really do some damage in that situation. Of course, zero builds is a lot more open, so it's less effective in that situation to go for a sticky grenade launcher over an SMG or an AR. In the eyes of a defeat, I always want to take the positive and try and realise the negatives I've done in that fight, so I'm better the next time. But when I die in the situations where explosives are involved, there's very little I can determine from that fight to improve the next time. In this fight, I was immediately pushed by someone else, instead of a sticky grenade, a minigun. And eventually I would die trying to push out to get some heals or just try and retreat. I think looking back, the best thing to do would have been to engage in some sort of fights. Not looking to win a fight, basically hoping to inflict some pain so I had a chance to rotate out. But anyway, ifs, buts, maybes, coulda, shoulda, didn't. But at this point I'm thinking, should I even be playing this game? Nah, trust me, this isn't a hate thing. I'm literally saying it in terms of learning from my mistakes. Like, this engagement couldn't be improved on because of the elements of the explosive item. If that engagement happened earlier and I had no builds, I would have been eliminated earlier. I guess it was a stupid edit I could iron out and not do, but once I was getting bombarded with the sticky grenades, of course at that point it's pretty much a done deal now I'm going to get destroyed. Is this an argument to get rid of explosives, or an argument to introduce Siphon for health and good map regeneration? Because honestly that would fix a lot of the problems getting absolutely depleted because of the explosives hitting you constantly, burning through builds and burning through heals. So maybe with explosives we have the same issue as I said earlier in the video with snipers and maybe even boogie bombs, when they hang on that fine line between fun, which they are fun, and real annoyance. It's really fun when you're using it, or maybe not, to be fair, because with the sticky grenade this season, when I'm absolutely pounding someone with it, I am a bit like, what am I doing? But it's that if I don't carry it, someone else is going to carry it and use it against me, sort of thing. So either way you're fighting against it or fighting with it, I don't think you're learning anything in terms of Fortnite Battle Royale or Fortnite Reload or whatever mode you're playing. Of course, rocket items find themselves in many BRs and shooter games, of course. Like, I've seen too many claymores behind the door in Call of Duty to last me a lifetime. Of course, by rockets I also mean explosive items. And of course it's the same feeling of, I can play really well, I can get collats, 5-ons, and then I just get killed by a claymore. I'm just like, what? Now I know Fortnite are probably not going to get rid of explosives, and to be fair I don't really want them to, but I think we could go a couple of seasons here and there where we have extremely limited explosive weaponry. Honestly, explosives are a pain to deal with. It's one of the reasons I hated the last few weeks of OG. They literally added every single explosive item in Chapter 1 in that last week. It was basically explosive week. It was ridiculous. It just left a sour taste in my mouth, and I know some people at the time disagreed with me when I did mention it, but on the whole the OG season was pretty good. It was just when they added every single explosive item, it was silly. My conclusion is I just feel like with rockets you don't really need a skill like you do with other weapons, which means when you're trying to assess strategies to learn to deal with it next time, it's pretty futile, which leads to frustration, and then you're sort of asking yourself, why am I playing? I want engagements where I can learn and utilise my skill to be better. Explosive items do not offer that, and that's why we should get rid of them. Maybe. Let me know down in the comments what you think. If you did enjoy this one, leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Until next time, it has been your boy, Mr. JLY. Till next time, bye bye.